I'm glad that you're here today and I hope everybody's doing well. I do miss you. Be glad when we can get back to school, get out of the house. We're going over heredity. On Friday, I think it was, or maybe it was Thursday, you did an assignment about Mendel's first experiment, and we learned some of these words already, just to remind you, because we're going to be using them. The P generation, this is your parent generation, and then you got F1, your first filial generation. That's the P generation is your grandparents. Your parents would be the F1, and then your F2 generation, that's your second filial generation. That would be like you. Okay, so P would be like equating it to your grandparents. The F1 would be your parents, and then F2 would be you. And you looked a little bit about Mendel and what he studied. He studied these different traits in P's, and this is the foundation of how we studied genetics today. And he wasn't appreciated during his time. It was later that somebody dug up his work and really found that it was correct and able to put it to better use. Okay, some words that I want to make sure you understand. Allele. So make sure you say the word and that you can say it properly. Allele. You have these in a Word document that you're supposed to download and print so that you can have a good list of your vocabulary. But an allele is an alternative form of a gene. Okay, so your allele could be capital T, small t. Okay, you got those two alleles. The capital T would be the dominant form of the gene for tall, and the recessive would be the one that is recessive or doesn't take over the little t. Okay, so your capital T would be one allele. That would be the dominant allele. The little t would be the recessive allele. Now, here's some words you really got to understand in order to work these problems. Homozygous and heterozygous. Remember, homo is the same, hetero is different. So if you have alleles that are homozygous, this is going to be like capital T, capital T. So the wording would be, you have homozygous tall. Now, you could also have homozygous short, and that would be little t, little t. Another variation would be to be heterozygous tall, and that would be capital T, little t. Okay, so homozygous is saying that you have the same letter combination, and then heterozygous would be a different letter combination. Genotype and phenotype. Have to understand this too. Genotype is the actual letters. That would be like capital T, or capital T, small t, or small t, small t. Now, a phenotype is what it looks like. Okay, so if your genotype is capital T, your phenotype would be tall. Okay, and it's hard for me to write with this. Okay, tall. Now, also, if your genotype, and we're talking about just complete dominance here, is capital T, small t, this would be heterozygous, your phenotype would still be tall. And on the other hand, if you were homozygous recessive, little t, now your phenotype would be short. Okay, so your genotype is the letter combination, and the phenotype is like the actual description or words. Okay, you saw the word hybrid the other day. A hybrid is when you have two different plants that are coming together from the same species. Now, today we're going to learn monohybrid crosses. This is whenever we're crossing for a single trait. And then next we're going to learn about dihybrid crosses and we're not going to do this today, but this is when we have multiple traits that we're crossing for, two traits that we're crossing for.